Business came to a standstill in Kevedane village, Kavadi location, Geshogo constituency, Kirinyaga County, as friends, relatives and colleagues came to bid farewell to retired Major Patrick Ngari Mugane. You see, Major Mugane worked closely with border operators here, and this was their way of giving a perfect send-off to their patron. The convoy snaked its way to Kadia grounds, where hundreds of mourners had gathered for the funeral service. Mugane's casket being carried by his pilot colleagues, donned in their uniforms as a way of showing their final respect to a man who ruled the skies and trained many. Mugane's love for church was evident as men and women of the cloth led by Right Reverend Bishop Joseph Kivoshoa of Kirinyaga Diocese came in numbers to lay to rest a man they say had a heart for the development of the church.
The Major has transited. For those who believe in the Lord, they transit.
His family remembering a husband, father, grandfather, brother and uncle as a man they will never forget.
The sweet endearment and pet names you called me by. The ringtone on your phone was the song Mariro, a name you lovely called me. Darling, finding out about your demise was a huge blow to me. It is still very unreal to me. But the good Lord planned it thus. Dance with angels till we meet again, dear. Your loving wife, Mariro.
Daddy, you gave your all to see that your family had the best of everything. Your dedication to see us through school was extraordinary.
Mau, I promise to take good care of Mom and Shushu. And when I grow up, I also promise to work hard and to be just like you.
The 61-year-old retired major joined the armed forces in August 1978 as an officer cadet, where he trained as a helicopter pilot and was deployed to the 50 Air Cavalry. Those who worked with him spoke of great level-headed officer with great discipline.
So I know Mugane as somebody who is very calm in what he does. And I thank God that you have given him that life.
Mugane rose progressively in seniority and eventually retired as a major. He later worked as a pilot for various institutions, including KWS Air Wing and the Kenya Police Air Wing.
Late Mugane tulikuwa na yeye huko. Mimi nilikuwa Air Force, yeye alikuwa Kenya Army. Alitangulia kuingia Kenya Police Air Wing. Wakati nimeingia Air Wing ndio nikamkuta hapo. Tumekaa na yeye na mjua, he's a very good pilot.
Among those who came to pay their last respects were Royal Media Services Chairman Dr. S.K. Masharia, Vice Chairperson Mrs. Gadhoni Masharia, Royal Media Group MD Washira Waroro, Radio ICT and Technical Director Fred Afune, Chief Engineer Moses Karaja, Human Resources Director Rose Wajohi, among many other colleagues.
Anytime you ever got into an aircraft with the Major, anasema maobi.
Major Mugane was a gentleman, always polite and always respectful with anyone he came across.
He was very solid, very supportive. I know for a fact that he loves his church. Whenever he had a function or a fundraiser, he'd send an SMS.
Major Mugane joined corporate helicopters in 2013, where he worked till his demise. Those who worked with him eulogized him as a great man who loved his job and had great respect.
Joanna na Mugane since alitujoin kwa corporate helicopters. Mugane is a very reserved, ni mtu mpole sana. Kaiwa kwa ofisi huwezi jua yuko, sababu ni mtu anapenda kunyamaza sana, lakini ni mtu tena wa kuchekesha sana. Mugane maneno yake kama ni mbili itakupa ucheke kama siku 2-3. So vile Kanol alikuwa anasema kila siku tukikuja asubuhi utakuta Mugane kwa simu kama ikilia anatuambia hiyo ni Mairiro. So at times I would even pick it up kama yuko tunasalimia mama. He was a very family man, and Mugane pia alikuwa ni mwalimu, ametufundisha sana kwa ofisi, ametusaidia na tunashukuru hiyo muda tumeshare na Mugane.
Corporate Helicopters Director Geshia Masharia remembers Mugane as a man who had much love for his wife, whom he referred to as Madiro.
He was very quiet. He was very strict though. That much I can say. And I remember he used to call me and says, unajua iko shamba nimepata hapo Kirinyaga, naona kama nitanunulia mama. And he bought a few, I think. You know, he'd tell me, sasa iko shamba ingine nimeona, ni about this amount. And we'd always laugh with it. I told him, na unapenda mashamba, si ununue kitu ingine. He says, no, unajua sasa hiyo ndio nitawachia watu wangu.
Major Mugane was a darling of the newsroom, as many, if not all the reporters, loved flying with him in different assignments. He also had a nose for news, and oftentimes he would call the newsroom and talk of something he saw while he was flying and thought was newsworthy.
Like when we had the floods the other day, the heavy rains we experienced this year, he'd be the one calling and asking, I can take you guys around to take pictures of the floods around, and he knew this country inside out.
He's the one who called and reported the destruction going on in Mau as people burnt down the forest. Personally, I will never forget when he flew my crew and I to Mpeketoni, where over 50 people were massacred. Mugane was laid to rest at his home in Kivedene village, Kavari location, Geshogo constituency. He leaves behind his wife Lucy Gari and 2 children, Miriwageshi and Evans Mugane, and 5 grandchildren. If planes could talk, then this particular aircraft would give us tales. Tales of how many times Major Mugane flew it and how many maneuvers he did, and how this particular cockpit will miss him. Michael Njenga, Citizen TV, Nairobi.